Hi everyone, welcome back to our second card for our class by mail. So I just wanted to recap on something that I've neglected to mention about the first card before we move on. So I wanted to show you where I got the Queen Bee stamp set and dies from. I mean, you'll find them in my online shop, but I just wanted you to be aware that they are in the mini catalogue, and the mini catalogue only goes until the end of April. I think it's actually the official end date. I think it's maybe the first couple of days of May, the 1st or 2nd of May. But if you just remember the end of April, that's the safest thing. So there it is there. And so because this catalogue is retiring end of April, we don't know yet whether this set will carry over to the new annual catalogue. So just be aware of that. If you like it and you want to get it, make sure you get it by the end of April. We will be finding out, what's this month, February. We probably will be finding out in April what will be retiring from this catalogue and what will be carrying over. But because it is a seasonal catalogue, a lot of things will be retiring. So just be aware of that. And of course, because it comes in a bundle, if you want both the stamps and the dies, you get a 10% discount if you buy it in a bundle rather than buying them separately. So I thought you should know that before we move on. So let's do that and move on. Okay, so we're putting that card away. And this is the card that we'll be working on now. So this is called a Fancy Z Fold card. Now the cardstock and DSP in your kit is slightly different to mine, to my sample. I think it might be the same as the one that I'm about to make, but I'll just show you how this one works. So we open up like that. And I haven't actually stuck my greeting piece in there, but that's how that one works. And the thing that's a bit unique about this Z Fold is that most of the card is actually designer series paper. So your card base on the back is actually only one piece. It's not a full folded card base. It's just to give it some stability at the back there. So I made this one as a baby shower card for my daughter-in-law. So we're doing that this weekend. So I'm looking forward to I haven't finished decorating mine yet. I'm going to put a little die cut onesie on that panel there. And yeah, so that should be, I thought that way they don't know whether it's going to be a boy or a girl, but it's got blues and pinks in it. So yeah, I thought that would be lovely. Just in case you're curious, the A Miracle Worth Waiting For comes from One Happy Family, which is in the annual catalogue. And I think this might be a retired set. So there's no point, that greeting on the front, so there's no point me telling you where that comes from. Yeah, but yes, the One Happy Family, hang on, is, let me double check that. Pretty sure it's in the online shop anyway, but yes, it's in the annual catalogue. So I'll put this one aside and bring in, you'll need either a scoreboard or if you want to use your paper trimmer for scoring, that's fine. But you do need to be aware that scoring DSP with the paper trimmer, a paper trimmer or a scoreboard, you just have to be a bit more gentle than you do on the cardstock because it's not quite as thick. Okay, but I will be using my paper trimmer. My scoreboard is awesome, except it's only got imperial measurements on it in inches, and all this is in centimeters. So let's start with the scoring and the cutting. Actually, your piece of DSP is half a 12 by 12 sheet, but we do need to just cut a small piece off one of these edges, because when we layer it on the card base, it's just a bit too long, and I want a border around the edge of mine, so I am trimming it to, okay, we're going to trim it to 14.5 on this short side. Got a little bit of glare on my trimmer there, so just make sure I got that right. So 14.5 centimeters. And then when you check that up against your card base, you will have a small border, like yay. So that's what we want. So I know I've done that the right size. Okay, now instead of using my scoring blade on my paper trimmer, I find that on DSP is just a bit too severe, a bit too sharp. So you've got more risk of, it's fine on your cardstock, but you've got more risk of cutting your DSP. At least I do anyway, by using that. So I'm going to use one of my scoring tools. There is also a scoring tool for this, but I can't find it at the moment. It comes with, you can remove that and pop the scoring tool in. And it is somewhere, but I can't find it. So I've got an older scoring tool here, and I'm going to use that. So we're going to start, and all these measurements are in the instructions that I will send you, so you don't have to remember them. Right, we're going to start at 2 centimeters. And I'm actually going to, I've got some glare coming in my window, and it's making it hard for me to see that top measurement. So I'm just going to move it up. Can you see, is that in camera? Yes, it is. Good. Okay. 2 centimeters. And the way I use the tool is I close the this thingy, and I just go down the channel like that. And you can't see it, but I can. 2 centimeters is the first one. 10.2 centimeters is the next one. And the next one is 20.4 centimeters. Now I can extend my trimmer arm out and do that, but it also works if you flip it around and do it at the 10.2 centimeter mark again. It's not exactly spot on, but it's close enough to being the same. So did you get that? So if you're doing it all the same, you've got 2 centimetres, 10.2 centimetres and 20.4 centimetres, or 10.2 in from the opposite end. Alrighty, move that out of the way. And then how you're going to fold this, sorry, I've just got something. How you're going to fold this is, so this is directional, so I want to make sure my paper is up the right way. And you also, yeah, we're going to fold that first 2 centimetre score in that way, and then you're going to go backwards and forwards like an accordion fold. So the next one goes in the opposite way, next one goes in the opposite way, and there you have your Z fold. Easy as. And with the Designer Series paper, you've got that gorgeous contrasting pattern that we know matches, because Stampin' Up! Do that with all their Designer Series paper. The reverse side always matches, they always match each other. So you've got that lovely coordinating and contrasting colour and pattern there. So now what we want to do is we want to take our card base piece. Now this is cut to, the piece in your kit should be cut to the correct size. So it's just an ordinary card base size cut from an A4 piece of paper, quarter of an A4 sheet. So we are going to stick that, the back piece of the Designer Series paper, just that panel. We'll stick that to our card base. Okay, making sure to get my borders straight. Sorry if you can't see that properly while I'm doing it. I just need to hold it up so I get it. And that is perfect. Close enough to perfect anyway. It's not perfect, but there we go. And did I tell you that this colour, this base colour, is Rich Razzleberry, which is in this paper as well. You could also use Blackberry Bliss like we used on the last card, but both of those colours are in this paper, so I'm happy with that. So now, before I decorate the front, just let me check my written instructions. I just want to do this inside piece. So for the, on my sample, I used, to cut my, the piece that I'm going to write on, I used the Deckled Rectangles dies. Can you see how that's got a ragged edge around it? So that is using the Deckled Rectangles dies. I'll just show you those if you haven't seen those before. They're a standalone die, so I don't think they come in a bundle. So that's what you get. So you get lots of different size rectangles. They are fantastic for the insides, lining the insides of your cards, but you've also got some really good greeting size pieces in those smaller ones as well. So the one I used, I think, was this one, which is the third largest, if you're curious. I'm pretty sure that was the size I used. Yep. And I have already cut mine out. And so what I want to do is I want to layer that underneath another piece of rich raspberry because I mean, you don't have to. I've given you this piece. If you're happy with the white in there, that looks quite nice. But I just wanted to pop a little bit more. So I wanted to work out, you decide if you want to layer that piece, you decide how much of a border you want. Now, if you don't have the Deckled Rectangles dies and if you don't want to purchase them, then you can just do what you do for any of your inside your card layers. You can just cut, you know, a normal square piece and layer them if you want. So what I did was I worked out how big a border I wanted, and then I measured it with my ruler, and I came up with 7.7 by 11.2. So I'm going to cut that. So 7.7 by 11.2. Now, before I make that final cut, just to make sure I didn't make a mistake, I'm just going to sit that on there and make sure that is right. Yep. It's probably a slightly smaller border on the sides than what I had originally planned, but that is okay. 11.2 I said, didn't I? 11.12. Okay. So yeah, I think on my blue piece, those side edges might have been fractionally bigger. I can always cut another piece if I'm not happy, but I think that's fine. It's just gives it a tiny, tiny little bit of a lift, doesn't it? Okay, so that is that. Now I'm not going to stick that down right now, but I like to stamp my inside greeting before I stick it down, just in case I make a mistake. There's a good tip for you right there. So I'm not going to stick that down because I haven't decided what kind of greeting I'm going to put on the inside. I do know, however, what I'm going to put on the outside, and I have already stamped it. I'm going to say, thinking of you on your special day. And this one is from Inspired Thoughts. Some lovely greetings in that one. There's even a couple of Christmas greetings in this set, so it's really versatile. There's a sympathy. You can see all the other ones there. So, I really love the font in that as well. So the Inspired Thoughts is also in the annual catalogue. And don't forget that this annual catalogue is also retiring at the end of April. So we've got 2 catalogues retiring at the end of April, and the new annual catalogue will start probably the 1st or 2nd of May, something like that. But this set also looks really nice with this set above it called Full of Love. They're not sold together, but they just go really well together. So that is on page 77 if you are looking for that one, but you'll find it in the online shop anyway. And I have already started to cut this out, but I'm using this punch to cut it out. Now the punch is called hang on. It's sold in a bundle with this stamp set. So if I find that stamp set, I will find the name of the punch. Happy Labels is in the mini catalogue, and the punch is, it's called Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. We have had a couple of different pick-a-punches with different edges on them, and I've got both of them, and as soon as they bring out, and whenever they bring out a new pick-a-punch, I always grab it, because the reason is not only do you get the choice of the 2 different edges, but you get the choice of 3 different size labels for both edges. So it's incredibly versatile, and that's why they've paired it with this stamp set, because all of those greetings will fit inside that punch. But I didn't want to use any of those greetings today, did I? So that is why I've used that one. And so as you can see, I've already punched one edge of it. And here's a really good tip if you are going to buy one of these pick-a-punches. Again, I have made myself some templates so that I always know how wide to cut my cardstock. So first of all, I work out which size my greeting needs, and in this case it was this one here, which is 3/4 of an inch. Now see how I've written tight fit next to all of those. I suggest you try your punch when you get it. So try 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1/2 an inch. I found that was just really, really squishy to try and fit in. So when I'm cutting it, I just cut it a fraction, a bee's elbows worth of measurement, just a bit shorter, just a fraction. So I did the 3/4 of an inch. And I already punched one edge, and then I stamped it. Now, to work out how long you need your piece to be to stamp the other end, if you don't like eyeballing it, which I don't, once I've stamped it, I get the bit that came off that end when I punched it. I'll just zoom in there and move everything so you can see it properly. So obviously, I need my tweezers for this. Obviously the bit that comes off one end is going to be the same that comes off the other end. So I just put it and eyeball it to get the same distance from the greeting, and then I just get my pencil and just put a tiny little tick mark, and that's how I know where to cut it. So I'm not even going to do that with my paper trimmer, just going to cut that with my scissors. And then slide it into my punch. And there we go. I think that's pretty close. Close enough for me. So there's all my tips for using that punch. So that's my greeting done. Now I need, I've die cut a circle to go underneath my greeting. Now I didn't die cut you a circle because I don't know what size greeting you're going to use. So if you've got either circle dies or a circle punch that you can do that yourself with, that is great. excuse me. If not, if you want a square piece and you just want to cut it with your paper trimmer, then that's entirely up to you. But I can highly recommend. I used the layering circles dies and I use these a lot too, to go under greetings, to stamp greetings on, and so you get the scallops and the plain circles. So you get, and they all the sizes layer together. So I'm pretty sure I used that one. I'll just double check that. Yep. And I cut out, I've already cut out my circle. You don't need to watch me do that. So they, once again, they are called Layering Circles Dies. And they are in the annual catalogue. Hopefully they will carry over because they're a standalone die. So I really hope that they will carry over. We've had them for a while now. So before I stick my circle on, that's a bit too plain for me. So I am going to stamp, again from the Queen Bee set. I really liked that floral sprig, and I thought it goes really nicely with this paper. So I am going to stamp that up. And because this is rich raspberry, I'm going to stamp it in the same colour to just give it, again, like on the other card, just something in the background that doesn't stand out, but just stops it from being too plain. And do you ever do this when you're inking up larger stamps? Instead of taking the stamp to your ink pad, take the ink pad to your stamp. Just makes it a bit easier. Better get scrap paper under there. Where's my scrap paper gone? Hello, scrap paper. There we are. All right, so I just want a little bit of interest on that. And I think because I like to have a little bit of a play as to where my sentiment's going to go. So my sentiment, I want my sentiment down a little bit. So I want some floral up here. It doesn't really matter about down. Oh, sorry, am I in camera? Oh, just. Okay. So I think I'll flip that stamp over and come in from that angle. And then we have that going across there. So I'm happy with that. Just clean that one up. So I like to blot my ink off as much as possible before I use my chamois, because I mean, the chamois are meant to stain. It doesn't wash out completely and it doesn't transfer when you clean other stamps, but I just hate the look of a dirty chamois. So that's why I do that. The chamois are fantastic for cleaning your stamps while you're working, but if you don't already know this, your red rubber stamps, to look after them and make them last a long time, you really should be cleaning them with a product like this. So this is called Stamp and Mist, and this is the Stamp and Scrub Cleaner. It has two sides to it, so you use one side as the wet side, spray your Stamp and Mist on, and then the other side is the dry side. It does have tiny, tiny little icons in there which can help you identify it's got some raindrops and the dry side, where's the, hang on, gotta find it, there it is, the dry side's got a little sun, but I always write with text on mine, so I don't have to look for that. Yeah, so that's a conditioning spray, so that will help to protect your red rubber for much longer, to stop the rubber from perishing and things like that, because red rubber stamps will eventually deteriorate and perish if you don't look after them. So that is my other tip for cleaning. So I use the chamois while I'm working, and then at the end of my crafting time, I'll go through and put all my red rubber stamps over the Stampin' Scrub cleaner. I also use it from a photopolymer. You don't have to use it, but I've got it out when I'm cleaning my stamps. Everything just gets cleaned with that. So that is that. So now, okay, what else am I going to... So when we stick this circle on here, no, I can't remember which way. I think it might have been that way, wasn't it? Yeah. So obviously we only want glue on, we only want to glue it to this flap here, okay? This flap is not glued down. You can glue it down if you want to, but you don't have to. I quite like that it's sitting up. It's a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is work out where I want that, and just get my Tombow and literally that's where it starts, and that's about where it finishes. So I know that I can put Tombow all down there. You could use snail or tear and tape, and I also like that to overlap here a little bit. Like so. So then that does that. I'll just give that a few seconds to dry. Now I also want, I've given you in your kit, you will have either received either some of this gold twine, which is called Simply Elegant Trim. It comes in a pack with gold and silver. Or I did run out of that. Or you will have got some of this glittered organdy ribbon. So that's what I am going to use. And I'm just going to, I'm not going to tie a bow, but I'm kind of going to make a bit of a bow shape to go diagonally under there like that. So I'm just working out how long I want how far do I want my bow sticking out. Yeah, I think that's enough. So I'm just gonna snip off excess of that. Yeah, and I'm just going to put some glue dots on this side of the back of that. I think would be the best thing. Glue dots. So just a few. Probably one more about there. should do it. I'll do that again. So it's kind of like a Z shape, I suppose. But no, I think I want it to look more like a bow. So you can do it in a zigzag Z if you like. I have done that before, like that kind of shape. But I think I want this to look more like a bow. So I'm going to go that way, but at an angle. So around about there. Yeah, doesn't have to be perfect. Just manipulate that a little bit. Maybe not quite so much of an angle, so I might just turn that around a bit more. Glue dots are a little bit forgiving, but not as forgiving as the liquid glue, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals as well. And I've smudged a little bit of glue on that, so that's a bit annoying. Let me see if I've got an ink eraser, but you have to be very careful because it's like a really fine sandpaper. So if you rub too hard, it will actually take a layer off your cardstock, but it is handy just for tiny little smudges. And I can always put a bit of bling over that if I still think it looks a bit. I might just give my hands a bit of a. Always keep a wet one handy, just in case that came off my fingers. Okay, all right, I'm not going to put any adhesive on this side because I want that to hang off. So I'm only going to put probably, how many? Probably just 2 will do. I've given you plenty of that ribbon in your kit, so if you want to tie a bow or do something else with it, you should have enough. Just need to stand up and make sure I get that straight. There we go. Now, I realised on my sample, I have actually put some dimensionals under this circle and stuck that down. So I think I'll do that as well, just so that when you're looking at it, it's not sort of jumping up at you. So I'll grab a couple of those. 2's probably plenty. There we go. Dunsky. You like? Another very simple but really effective card. I loved how easy that was. So I hope you did too. I don't think there was anything else I had to do on that one. As I say, I'm not going to glue that in there yet. I like the fact that that's left plain when I've put the sentiment piece in there. but if you wanted to put something else in there, that would look good too. In fact, possibly even if I was going to put something else in there, I just had a thought, possibly even a smaller deckled rectangle, maybe also cut in that rich raspberry, or you could do blushing bride and do some more leaf flower sprig stamping just all over it, just as a point of interest. But I wouldn't want anything bigger than that because I don't want to detract from that beautiful paper. So that is something else you could do if you like. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you for watching, and check out card number 3 coming soon. Bye.